I said, I don't know what niggas be doing these days, but I mean, so now I don't know what. I won't go back to Mississippi, so I told you that in general. So hopefully he living good and he don't need me to visit.
That nigga said he ain't even going back to visit.
Nah, you know, and it's funny. This is what we was talking, you know, with welcome everybody to the Reality or Not podcast with your homie DJ Reality, and you got your boy Brian Clancy, starter and founder of Nothing New Under the Sun podcast. How you doing, Brian?
Man, I'm blessed and impressed. I'm blessed and impressed with the life that God gave me. And yourself, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Good energy, good vibes. Just trying to keep it up for the day. It's always a beautiful Sunday, even though it's raining outside. We were just talking about trauma and shit, right? Talking about going to Mississippi and all that shit. But yeah, I don't think that I would, just based off of how I was impacted being young, and honestly, I wasn't the one that was getting in trouble and having to stay down there and be a part of it, but I heard the stories, and ironically, I could probably let go of some of that now that I think about it, because like I said, I wasn't a bad person. I wasn't the one that was getting in trouble or being sent to Mississippi to, you know, to get fixed, I guess, for lack of better words. But have you ever been to Mississippi?
I have not been to Mississippi where our family is. The only places I've been to Mississippi is Biloxi and Gulfport. So those cities was pretty cool because like I was thinking again, like y'all niggas had me traumatized before, so have me not ever want to go down there. Like 15-hour drives and like going outside to use the bathroom and fetching
your
water.
Nintendo, nigga. That was number one.
Yeah, so it was like I never wanted to go down there, but then I've been to Memphis, so I've been to North Mississippi, like partaked in some of the best food ever in Memphis. So shout out to Mississippi, Memphis area for providing that. I stayed in outside of Jackson somewhere. I mean, it's nice people, but do you think that the Mississippi tradition, like how it's traditional Mississippi, like when we got like the family from Mississippi, is definitely acts a, I ain't gonna say old slavery, but like they act like
nigga, we was on the damn plantation, damn near, nigga. Like I won't like, and like I said, of course, as an adult, I have more money or more access to doing things, so I don't have to necessarily be in the backwoods of Mississippi anymore. Like I said, I don't even know if we still even own the property that was there, but bro, it was. I don't think. So I'll give you an example, right? I was talking to Aunt Rosie one time, and I was, and this is what I started, trying to find myself and figure out things that, and try to learn from the older generation. Cause I'm like, all this shit. And that's why, like, I would give an Aunt Rosie and, hey, how do I make dressing? Hey, how do I make greens? Hey, how do I make macaroni and cheese? Like, she was literally getting frustrated with me, but I was learning from her, on how to, and fix food and stuff like that. But one time I was talking to her, and I asked her, I was like, well, how was it with racism? Because she grew up in Alabama. And she was like, well, we didn't really see it as racism because that was just how we were raised.
The way of life, yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't like the stuff that they had to do was normal, where we look back at it as like, well, I wouldn't have picked no cotton, I wouldn't have did that. I was like, no, nigga, you would have been doing that shit. Like you went or died. Like it wasn't no avoiding that shit. From that standpoint. And like I said, she wasn't necessarily in slavery, but she dealt with the civil rights movement and all that stuff. So it was still, tougher times, within the southern states. But
I mean, people really got to understand. Like my mom didn't even really truly was not born with the right to vote, right? She was born right around the civil rights act, right? Where, you know what I'm saying? So like it's not that far behind where they was conditioned to be like. So like if you think about our parents, we only about 2 two generations away from straight up slavery. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's been slavery, civil rights, and like, well, it's been it's
Well,
been some.
when did the women's voting was that around 1919? I think it was.
Yeah, that was around the turn of the century for
Yes,
sure.
yeah. So, like, say for instance, grandma, right? Grandma was born. I say 1929. So, shit, she was she was 10 years removed, from not being able to vote.
Right,
So it's
right,
stuff like
right.
that you gotta. It's like, damn, like we ain't. And
We're not even conditionally able to vote, right? So
yeah,
like, that's
listen,
the crazy part because like
transition
you still
transitioning
didn't
from
get
voting to the Great Depression. She was in the Great Depression.
right,
That's like,
right.
1927, something around it. Like, it's just like, so you go from, almost having the right to vote. And then, mind you, having the right to vote, blacks having the right to vote.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I'm
saying.
not talking.
It's another layer on top of that. So
Yeah, we
like
ain't talking. We
we just
talking
talk about
white
her
people.
gender being able to
Yeah,
vote,
we
right?
talking white women being able to vote. We ain't
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
like, like we still was, 3/5, at that time. So,
We still fight. Like I said, my mom was born in '61,
mhm.
and the Voters Right Act, the Civil Rights Act was, and the Voters Right and the Civil Rights, I think was around '68 and
Yep, 68.
'65.
Yeah, with the late 60s, mid to late 60s. Yep.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when it was killing all our leaders, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so learning from history, when we stepping back, because that's basically what we're doing, right? We learn from history,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the things that I'm trying to convey to people, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
we know if we build it and it's successful, and uh, and they want it, they'll take it or they'll bomb it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you look at the history of those cities that was black and that was built and that was successful, and like Rosewood, it's not just Black Wall Street. It was a couple cities where black people were flourishing and had their own thing and was really doing their thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so these are things that I'm taking, and then like if you got leaders that they can pay off, and I hate to say this, but Jesse Jackson was one of those leaders to me where he was just like, yo, write me the check, I'll deliver. Uh, so like I don't want one person in charge, because if one person in charge, they either destroy him, Puffy. No, no, let me stop.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll either do a smear campaign on him to take the whole thing down,
Mm-hmm.
or so you gotta kind of build it out that too big to fail and distribute it, right? So if you want something black and successful, these are the things that's clicking in my mind. Like, yo, it can't be concentrated black. Because
Mm-hmm.
as soon as it get concentrated and you walk on that side of the street, and that side of the street look better than their side, they're like, how you doing that? Like, no,
Yep.
this should be us. Make America great again.
Yeah, listen, but look at that, like transitioning that now until like our generation now from what the conversation that we're having, it's like we've been, and we was alluding to this before we even started. It's like you're talking about how, having a vehicle and you having to turn your music down before, like if you pull up to a cop, or like if you see a cop or something like that. And it's like damn, like we've been conditioned to, and no, don't get me wrong, I mean, we're not going to be stupid either, it's like we know how we're protecting ourselves, but we've been conditioned to figure out ways to not disrupt, everything, so we don't die, or so we don't get murdered. um
they
so
call it
it
a
just,
trap for a reason, right? So like
yeah.
we can't keep walking into the trap and I
Mhm.
think
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we and that's
most
kind
likely
of
we're
why.
going to lose, but the thing is we should always fight for it. But you pick your battles. I'm not going to fight to listen to loud music, but I'm gonna fight for my voice, right?
Right.
So so it's like you find your balance in between the two and be like, well, you know, I'm not gonna, because that they can find a way. They can find a way to pull you over. They can make up reasons, and you don't want to give them reason. You don't want the light on you.
Yeah,
Um,
and then they build that history up too. Like so, we was talking about before recording this. When it's a setup, right? It's a setup. Like they be like, hey, he has a, and I felt like like it's a real trap
mhm,
because like it's like they attack your driver's license, get your driver's license away from you, so now you can't have a driver's license. So now every time they pull you over, because you still got to get somewhere, every time they pull you over, you going to jail or losing out, and then you got these fines, and then it's like you digging a bigger hole, right?
mhm.
And then like you mess around and really do something like slap somebody at work that that don't understand the culture, right?
Mhm.
No, like because I don't know about you. You ever had a corporate job and they talking kind of reckless, and you like, do you know who I am? Like, like, do you know I will slap the yeah,
I
like
had a corporate job recently where I walked away from the job. I walked out of the meeting and said, you know what? This is probably this is the beginning to the end. And I was done by Friday. And that was on like a Tuesday. I was like, I had I had a one on one with one of the to one of my direct reports,
uh-huh.
um, and she was telling me about being within the company and stuff like that, and how she's looking to grow. And I really had to break it down to her, and maybe like it was still good energy and a good thing to say to her,
Hmm.
but I was telling her, I was like, just read the room, and I think I might have mentioned this in this podcast before, but I told her, read the room. Who's being promoted, who's not being promoted, and who's leaving. Look at the structure to how you can build, how you can grow within that company. What's the next role that you want to have? And if that title is not there, either it has to be created or you got to go and get it somewhere else. And one thing that's huge in tech, right, is that, or I want to say it's huge in every industry, but I know it from the tech perspective, is that in order to get your money, you have to go place to place. We've talked about this. You can't just sit idle and expect your salary to increase, because what's going to happen is you get over here, they're going to say, and I'm just saying on the low end, you get over here, they're going to say 80,000. Somebody's going to come and say, would you take 105, 110? Why would you stay? There's no loyalty in this business. So then even on that 110, it's like, well, somebody's going to come to you and say, hey, what do you think about 130, 140? And you're like, okay, well, this is a good company. And then that's where like you start to, like, you have to find the balance in your relationship. Like if you got great relationships within these companies, I have no problem with, but at the same time, sometimes companies try to keep you to a certain point that, okay, we're not going to give you um job security, but we're going to try to make sure that you're comfortable, so you get laid off, then now you thinking like, damn, I probably should have took that 130, 140, or 160, 170, or 200 or whatever, so within tech, you have to consistently bounce around until you're comfortable to have the salary that you want,
Right.
but
And then they'll use that against you in different interviews too. I had an interview. He was like, you kind of bouncing around to a bunch of like you've been in a few different. I say, I've been a hired gun. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been a
mhm,
hired gun. I've been a cleanup person. I talked to Renita. She was on my G coded and like when you it's those people that you call that you
mhm,
be like I need somebody to fix it. And
mhm.
like I felt like I have been a cleanup person at a few of these positions, and it's cool. But like once you get them stable, once you get them, they like, oh shoot, these are usually the people that because they kind of neglected the projects
Mhm.
that that they looking to throw some like it'll be some compliance stuff, and like you once you get the compliance stuff, they're like, yo, do we really need them? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo,
Listen,
so I
go
feel
ahead.
like the higher gun.
But listen though, but fuck them though. This how this how I look at it. Like like, and this is where you get within your career, and it's harder to do this when you're young within your career. But at this point in time, it's like, well, so what drew the interest of me, or why are you interested in me if you see that I bounce, if you feel that I bounce around? what sticks out. I have to interview them just as much as they're interviewing me. Like
Exactly.
what makes me that interesting of a piece to even consider? Because sometimes they just looking at it from a high level. They ain't even reading all your shit. That's why I don't even like. I focus on my resume just to make sure that stuff is in there. But at the same time, it's like, no, I want to ask you these questions. And I mean, it's an interview within the interview. I'm interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing me. I may not even want to work for your funky ass company. It's like
that's one of the main reasons why I asked you: are you growing or are you replacing somebody? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, why did they leave? Like, are you? And like, man, it's so crazy when they interviewing you. Be like, yo, do you like your job? And the motherfuckers pause a second. And,
it's important. Listen, this is why I said, like, get comfortable. Make it a conversation. Understand that this isn't. You're not help. I mean, you're not. You shouldn't be looked at as a service, right? But at the same time, I provide a service. You provide a service. You provide me income, and but so. You don't want to be looked at strictly as a service because you want to understand your value. Like if you have like you said, replacing or added value, like what's my benefit to working for this company? Like what do I get from this? Because you know what you're getting from it, because you're going to say, hey, look, you're going to run scrums, you're going to interact with the stakeholders, you're going to do a bi-weekly meeting on status on where we're at within this. What are you doing for me? What am I getting out of this? Like, it's not just income. I need to get something beneficial. It doesn't necessarily have to be a tangible thing, but I need to get at least security.
I want to know where's my growth. And then like what you're saying is very valid as far as when you like, okay, so who do I talk to? How are they receiving these? And like, I had to learn this because they'll tell you all this fancy stuff in the interview. And then the person is like, oh yeah, they don't work here no more. So you just going to have to figure it out. And you be like, what? Like,
how the fuck I'm supposed to figure out some shit? And then I'm on a deadline. Don't get me wrong. I will figure it out, but just like a thing about us, I had to learn this. I had one mentor that I'm still cool with and I still fuck with at this company I was with five companies ago. But he told me, and it's not a great way to think about it, but it is a good way. He said, under promise, over deliver. And with that, he's essentially saying, hey, look, give them this deadline, knowing you're going to meet that deadline and you're going to have room to, because it's going to make you look good. Because the problem is, say for instance, I'm going to use it in numbers perspective, right? Say for instance, you have 10 things to do. And what's today, the 12th? You have 10 things to do. And you tell them, hey, I can get those 10 things done by July 12th. Or not July 12th, say June 12th, a month from now. Mm-hmm. And you get those 10 things done by June 6th, a week before the deadline, or say May 31st, 2 weeks before the deadline. They're going to give you props for that just because you were able to get a set of goals done within that time frame. But let's say that number 10, right? Say for instance, you have 15 things to get done, and you promise June 12th, and you get 13 of those things done out of the 15. You're going to be dinged for not being able to get those 2 things done, even though you got more things done before June 12th in the second scenario rather than the first scenario.
Yeah. And those more things might also have to include scope creep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, look, I get hit with it. I had to explain that to the CIO, the chief chief innovation. It was chief innovation officer. I had to explain it to her. And I like the fact that she kept adding it to it. Like she would say it in meetings and stuff like that, because she had never heard that term. And I was like, no, scope creep is a thing. Like it's not a, and this is where the under promise over deliver comes. It's like, well, you have to damn near embed that for the type of organization that you're working for. Because and let me go ahead and explain this clearly of what scope creep is. Scope creep is when you have an idea or you have a scope, right? Or you have a vision of something to get done. And as you're getting it done, something else plays its part into scope creep.
All right. So now you got a task. You got the requirement is you need a task. You need a task manager with multiple tasks where you can have multiple tasks and you can attach it to multiple events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now those were the requirements. Once you start building that task, they start asking, hey, can we get some color coding? You say, okay, that wasn't in it, but we can include that. That doesn't add much time to it. Okay. Then when they ask, can they get after you start creating that, they said, well, can we get a subtitle? And you said, well, subtitle for the main one or the subtask, right? Oh, well, we want it for the main one and the subtask with a title with a title. So you can have a title and I'm like, so what we started with was a task manager that you can assign to different events. What we end up getting, but what you end up asking for in addition to that is the scope creep. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like we get it all the time in development because we do something.
You want to change one thing from something else, and that wasn't what was expected.
Yeah, and that wasn't what was the requirements, the base requirements, right? Now we always and like changing color a lot of times doesn't really it's not a big ask, but it's when you say I wanted to change color when you move it into this column, you know what I'm saying? Or when it moves into this when the event that is tied to is behind, right? So you be like, oh shoot, so now I got to do some math in the background to make sure, but those are people want, and then they want more, right? When Prince said never satisfied, that's what scope is, scope creep. And it's creep because they slowly introduce it as you in development. We try to show you what we're working on so you can see in an agile environment, so you can see exactly what you're getting, so we not deviating away from what your request is, right? But then is when
it never gets done.
Yes.
So that's the bottom line. Like you'll say, hey, I need. You say from the color coding perspective, I needed to look purple. Then you say, hey, I needed to look green. It's like, well, within the original statement of work, you asked for purple. So now I got to figure out how to transition it to green. And then you're like, well, can you add +4? Just adding things to it. And that's the whole idea. It keeps creeping up on you because you're doing ask for the business, but you just got to be conscious and say, hey, look, let's have this project and then move on to the next project of iterations. Iterations is a huge part of tech. It's like it's not like black and white, but when you write it out, it's like, okay, you can add some things, but you can't add too much or it'll never get completed.
Right. So. Yeah. Low key, our
my bad. I apologize. I was going delays versus, and I'm glad that you cleared it up. And I was like, oh shoot, I'm explaining it the wrong way. So I'm glad that you broke it down like that. That's dope.
So. Oh yeah, man. This is like I said, but our reunion is all scope creep to me now because like I kind of signed on to the reunion just to help where I was needed, and now I built a few things on top of it. Like, and it's like, and then they want more.
Listen, anything that you need help with, let me know. I just know that, I'm looking at it and I'm just like, yeah, that is a prime example of a scope. Because this is my problem sometimes with people, right? They want it their way, but they don't want to be a part of it, right? So they want to be close enough to it to be like, oh, this is my 30-year anniversary, but they don't want to provide input. Or not to say they don't want to provide input. They don't want to provide themselves as input in order to get things done. They just expect somebody else to hand it off to them, and because it's easier for people to be on the outside looking in and complaining about it than being a part of it. And
Exactly.
being a part of it is what makes you proud of the things that you've done, right? Like being a part of it, like if I'm a part of something and it's successful, then I stand on that, right? I'm like, yes, I have my input, I did that. But if something isn't successful and you don't have input on it, that gives you the right to complain from the outside. It doesn't give you the right to complain, but it gives you the right to complain. With like, well, shoot, if I had did this, or if I was part of it,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have went. It would have went a little bit different. It's like, well, no, you've had a welcoming path to be a part of this process,
Yeah.
and it just depends on how people are. Like, this is where, and this kind of, this is one of the topics that I talk or that I sent over to you as far as like protecting your energy, right?
Yeah.
So in that scenario, how do you, and we could talk about this as an overall thing, but how do you protect your energy on something that I don't want to, I'll give some of the details of I mean, you're invested in this, whether it's with your time, whether it's financially, so how do you protect your energy with people that do not have anything invested in this yet, with the exception of considering participating?
Man, so that's a very good observation that you see, because like I think I kind of lost my I kind of lost my status quo as Brian, because I let it get to me. Because I'm
Right.
like,
Listen,
yo, these,
you
these
could literally
motherfuckers.
walk away from this shit and I would not fault you. Like your life is not dependent on this, right? Like, don't get me wrong, this is all our free time. And like I
Yeah,
told you, you're financially invested in this. You provided it, like, so these are the things that makes it hard for me to swallow that. Wait a minute, hold on. I'm putting my time and my money in this, and and,
yeah,
and my
yeah.
energy, and
Yeah,
so
but
yeah. So how do you?
I'm the way I'm protecting this is because I see the success in it, right? So like
Mhm,
even and the and what we talk about in this on this podcast is all about how we leaving this work, how we leaving this world, right? And like
mhm,
I didn't really realize that we didn't have alumni association, right? We
mhm.
like, because we keep duplicating stuff. Each class keep duplicating stuff on their own, and it's just like ridiculous.
Do
I'm
it
like,
all
yo,
together. Listen, when we were starting this, I'm like, do I really? I was like, well, let me check in with Brian and Ed, and Ed was like, well, if you do it, I'll do it, and I'm like, all right, well, fuck it, shit, like we in it,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
yeah,
at the same time, I can, and this isn't like, this doesn't put me above anybody or below anybody, etc. But my life could be a lot easier by not taking on more things, right? So
yeah,
I can always take that energy, put it somewhere else, or and you could, and I'm saying we can all do that. So when I feel like, not that you're being targeted, but I mean you could be targeted, but
yeah.
when it's when you're going above and beyond and people don't see it, that's when I have a problem with that, so.
Yeah, but so like when protecting my energy, like there is some people that was like, "Yo, y'all doing the most with this." Like, yeah, I can't believe how much information I'm getting about it, right?
Mhm,
So that's cool, but best believe it's something that I can transfer over to make some loot. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? So
yeah,
like that's why I'm like, yo, I build it the right way, then it's a blueprint to set up something else, right?
yeah.
So I do believe in building this association out, that we could actually create like a black reunion or a tech convention with people from Muskegon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just
And
start to
have successful
categorize
people within that. Like,
yes,
but
exactly.
Brian, and not to stop you, and I don't want to Noriega this conversation, but sometimes I have a problem with, like, I would rather build with people that I know than not. And sometimes the people that you know think that they don't see the larger picture. They see it for what it is. I mean, for what it is now, but they don't see what it could be.
Yeah,
And having that vision, I feel like a lot of people don't have that ability because they can only see what's in front of them, right? They can't really see, well, if we do this now, this sets the standard to move forward. And more people are like now, like, well, why is it cost this, or why are we doing this, and da da da, rather than, okay, let's see how this goes. If this sucks, then we tweak it, we figure it out, but we can't keep and this goes to scope creep, right?
yeah,
It's like, well, why don't we change this and tweak this and do this and da da da? And it's like, well, that wasn't what we originally had planned. That was, and now we're getting closer to the months to having this event, and you're telling us like, oh well, we should do it like this or blah blah blah. And honestly, Brian, like that bullshit with showing up on site and getting somebody a credit card in person. Hey, look, nigga, hey, you just one of the ones that won't be able to participate. I like I'm not going to show up, nigga. You live in, I mean, you have property in Muskegon, but I'm not just gonna be showing up for that one person to be able to get their credit card payment. Like fuck them.
and
Like
and I'm not. So like, and that's my thing. Like, like if I'm like I said, if I'm hanging out at the coffee shop or whatever, I'll drop like y'all can find me. But
yeah,
so like the people and then like so again, so you brought up three things that I was like, yo, the vision, right? For one, like we need titles, and like I hate the fact that you need titles, but like to be over a 501c nonprofit, right? That's a title that you can carry into your career somewhere else, right? So when I'm creating titles for people and I say, hey, look, I can put you in this position to do this. When I create a path from one project, G Code is the project that I'm using to help work on this thing, right? And we have a success on this side. Like the pieces start coming together like a puzzle, and then it looked better at but so the minutia, the minutia, because you talked about that part. These are people that ain't really a part of it, but want to have something to say about it. You're gonna have those people, and you're gonna have people that can't follow simple directions. And I never understood how okay, now
I'm okay with eliminating the exception to the rule at this point in life. Like like the exception to the rule becomes that thorn in your side on compromising the whole thing, right? Like I just feel like we have a process. Look, you go on Eventbrite, or you go to the site in general, you get what you got to get. If you ain't doing shit online at this point in time in 2025, like nigga, like I can't do nothing. Like if if you're like the elder statesman, like I said, with like I'm pretty sure your mom is like understands how to do some things online. She may not, she's not a programmer or anything like that, but she understands like if I need to do something, I can kind of figure it out. And I'm saying that older generation, if you're not within the, and not to be an elitist or anything like that, but if you're not, I mean, if you're of the 1995, you have dealt with tech in some capacity.
you are
Like you
in the
didn't deal
middle of a tech boom, of a different tech boom, where the
yeah,
internet went from some obscure only at colleges things, barely made it to high school thing, to actually a part of your life. Where yeah,
yeah.
it's
It is not as if you got to be programming or anything like that. Like within tech, you have a smartphone. That I'm not even going to. I'm saying like at a higher level, like like I don't know if you remember when we was over. I don't know if you remember this or not, but Lynn, our cousin,
You
she
have a
still
flip
had a
phone?
flip phone,
Yeah. She
and
keep.
that shit was just beyond. I was like, okay, you keeping it OG, like that
Yeah.
shit blew my mind, But at the same time, it's like, well, if that's where you are within a generation, then you have to look at it like we want to include everybody, but there's going to be some missed people, that choose to, um, not be a part of it. I remember our cousin, I ain't gonna say her name, but she got mad at me when we were doing the family reunion in 2017,
Uh-huh.
and I had said like a little joke, blah blah blah, and it wasn't like she had said something about well, I didn't get no letter in the mail about this family reunion, but she's in the family reunion chat on Facebook saying it. So everybody that was on the Facebook, I mean, that everybody that's in the Facebook chat has been communicated that the family reunion was happening. So
Yeah.
I'm not about to sit up here and send you no fucking letter, and I'm already inviting you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, her mom came, like, and that was like the last family reunion we had with Aunt Mert. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what the like. But the thing was,
Man,
and I was like, well, shit, you ain't got to come. Then I was like, I'm just kidding, but I was just kidding. I wasn't like, she didn't come to none of the family reunion stuff that whole weekend. Whether it was at like
and you're gonna
her
get those
brother had a
people and
look, her
say and
brother had a fish
that
fry. We had a thing at Mona Lake. I DJ'd a thing at I forgot the name of that shit, but Tome, I ended up renting it from him, ended up having a party. We took most of the food that we had from Mona Lake, brought it there. Then we all went to church. Some people went to Michigan Adventure that day, but all that being said, she didn't come to anything just because she caught feelings.
yeah.
I can't
And
I can't I
that,
can't
that
I
was
can't protect your feelings.
that was my third point.
Mhm.
Because when you're gonna have people complaining, and this is my rule of life that I learned. When you have people complaining, fuck it, do what you want to do. So the whole process is mine now. I own it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I said, fuck it. Y'all can't figure this shit out. Guess what? Y'all can blame me or whatever the fuck y'all can do. But I got, like you said, I got money, time, and money, time, and
Energy
an
shit.
image invested and the brand
Mhm.
invested in this now. So
Mhm.
it's like okay, we're gonna roll with my shots. So
Yeah.
now I got people wanting to justify. Like I just seen it just today. What we doing for those 3 days, motherfucker? Do it matter?
But we do have like we
Yeah.
there is a what we're doing for those 3 days.
Itinerary. There's
Yeah,
our itinerary. Yeah.
out there. Like, so,
Yeah.
oh man, so all that being said, man, like, so let me get this correct, and I can say that this is how I do it as far as protecting my energy.
Uh-huh.
And you just mentioned this a second ago. My way of protecting my energy is similar to what you're saying. Is, hey, look, I'm gonna do it the way that I want to do it, because if I'm trying to do it some other way that somebody don't like, then I feel like I'm compromising myself and I'm not happy. If I'm doing it the way that I want to do it, I'm happy, and you could take it how you take it at that point in time.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Like, that's how I protect the energy, and don't get me wrong, I'm with compromising, but I'm not with other people not compromising. If that makes sense. Like, I'll adapt, and I'll listen, and I'll try to take in what you're saying. But
But
if you're
it's
just like steadfast, hey, look, I'm not, this is how it's got to be, and this comes, so it's a way to ask people for things, at least for me, that you can ask me one way, or you can ask me the wrong way. And you can ask me like, hey, what do you think about this? Can we potentially incorporate this? I think this would be a great idea, versus, um, we got to do it like this, or I don't think nobody's gonna do it, or we can't do it like that because it got to be done like this. Like it's a different way to ask people to do things versus like, I mean, because most of the time I'm like, you ask me the right way, I'll be like, sure, man, I don't care. Like you can ask me damn near for anything if you ask me the right way. But if you ask me the wrong way, it's gonna like not sit well with me, and I'm just gonna do it the way that I think sees fit.
You have to, and so my other thing is you have to know your audience, right? Some of these people ain't never did nothing, they ain't never gonna do nothing. It is what it is, right? So you get to know these people, and like and what I've learned is that if you give people options, and I've given people options and they just want to stir on the options, you gotta shit or get off the pot. And these will be the first. These will be the first people that'll be like, "Oh, what's your answer? What's your answer?" Or want to start some drama. I'm non-drama related, so it's like, "Hey, I put money in this pot. What you did? What you do?"
Look,
right?
don't give. Listen, the less options you give people, the less problems you have. Like I try to not give more than 2 options.
I put my wallet down. I put my wallet down. And I say, "Hey, look, I put up where yours at. Shut the fuck up." You know what I'm saying?
Listen, if you give 5 options, people are going to argue with you about 3 of them.
What is that?
2 options. Most likely, it's one thing they're going to argue with. You give them 1 option, they may consider something, or they may just say, "Well, if that don't work for me, then that 1 option works for you. Then I still go ahead and do what I was planning on doing anyways."
Like, yeah, because like just like with the reunion, like nobody even really said nothing back. You know what I'm saying? Once I put it down, like, "Hey, this is what we're gonna do," and like I asked them for their input, it's too late now. You know what I'm saying? Like the ball is in motion. Like you can hate me, you can blame me. I'm a big boy. Either way, you know what I'm saying? So like I protect my energy by saying, "Look, motherfuckers, like it's me. I stand on my word. I did what I said I was gonna do. What?" You know what I'm saying?
You said one of the biggest things. You stood on it. A lot of people don't like to stand on it. Like a lot of people don't like to commit. And that's just I never understood that. Like I'm gonna commit one way or the other, whether I commit to not fucking with it or I commit to being a part of it. But I just know that a lot of people got 1 foot in and 1 foot out. And that's always tough to do things. And this is kind of like one of the topics was it doesn't necessarily have to like being proactive versus reactive, right? Like you being proactive was like, well, let me, shoot this message out. This is the plan. It wasn't like you just shot that out willy-nilly. I mean, you contacted, people to say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" and got input and knew that, people were going to back you, versus like, okay, well, now you're being reactive to trying to figure out like, no, we're not changing the game at the bottom of the 9th inning. Like it is what it is if nobody says anything. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily have to be hard coded if people provide the input. People will wait to the last minute and be like, "Well, I think we should do it over here in Grand Haven or something like that," just as an example, rather than, and trying to switch up the whole game, which is what we alluded to with scope creep, is that people are very indecisive, and you got to have things in place to have successful events.
Well, see, and I know you know about it because you've been on vacation with people, and then they all looked at you like, "What we gonna do?" Right? And you like, "Shit, I was on vacation. I had no idea that I was supposed to be planning this shit." But I guess, and then like I tell people all the time, too much is given, much is expected. And so like getting involved in this project, because like I ain't been this is my first and probably my last reunion I'm going to for my class. I'm definitely
go to the 35th one, man. You go to
I'm definitely doing a black one though too. Like I think that we should do a black one, and I think we should do like a tribal one too. And like all this is put together so people can stop saying what we should do and actually do some stuff, right?
I hate talkers. I hate people that only talk about things and be like, well, I want to do this. It's like, bro, we are in a society that pretty much anything that you want to do, and people could say whatever about America. I don't want to live nowhere else. And I say that
I might
as
retire
in,
in Costa Rica.
yeah, I mean, I feel like, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm saying like there's benefits to staying in these other places, but there's other limits that messes me up. Like it's like I would love to live, as an example, Costa Rica, but I don't want to deal with Costa Rican internet. It's like it's stuff like that I worry about. I'm like, well, we got it. I remember I went to Cuba, and Cuba was dope, like visually.
Yeah,
But if you really look at Cuba, Cuba is so behind.
it's antiquated. I mean, like
Yeah,
they grid and everything is antiquated. I mean, they've been on the embargo. They have been on the embargo for what, 40 years?
1970 or 1972, 70. So the thing, and I'm looking at it from a high level view. I'm like, damn, like, I mean, I'm talking about like you got like it looks dope. It's one of those things. It's good for a photo op, but it ain't good to live in my opinion. And I say that like they don't trade they don't trade with other countries because of the relationship that they have with the United States, right?
Yeah,
So they don't have new cars. They don't have the cars that we have in the US. Like they have older cars, they just rebuild the engines and keep doing that over and
yeah.
over and over.
They keep making the shit that they have work. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. So I'm like, hey, I was like, this isn't
I
this
mean,
is a place to go for 4 days, but this
I mean, and then think about that as far as infrastructure too, right? So like
Mhm,
we in our grid, we've done so many new things to our grid to make sure that we ain't without power for 4 hours or whatever. You know what I'm
mhm,
saying? So like, what I don't think people realize all these intricate. That's why I am a pro. This is what I propose, right? And
mhm,
I hope that I can get it to somebody who can actually do something, but
mhm,
in junior high, we went to junior high, but middle school or whatever, I think they
mhm,
need to stay at least like students need to stay at least 2 months on an Indian reserve or Mexico, right?
mhm,
And I say at least a month, right? Because I
mhm,
think you'll appreciate this stuff. And then a senior in high school, I think you need to go on one of these. I think you need to go to one of these nations where we can start building and see opportunities in, like maybe it'd be South Africa, Johannesburg, or maybe
mhm,
like, because I think we get in this bubble of, hey, we in America, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
America. We expect the water to be water everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
expect
Oh,
drinkable
look,
water.
observing these things. I mean, bro, listen. Personally, going to college changed my perspective on all races. Like, I didn't even, bro. Like growing up in Muskegon, you was either black or white, and
Oh,
then
Mexican.
yeah, or Mexican. That
Yeah.
was it. Like, it was no in between. Like, and even like I mean, it was like, was it Monica and Rachel, like them were the only Mexican people that I could think of that I
Well,
knew
you
growing
remember
up with.
Alex and them that used to live on Park Street too, like right down the street from the court. From yeah, we had, and then like
I
and
look,
even
look, they might have had a Mexican name, but I consider them white or black. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's
and then if you was native, you was probably Mexican, like right.
listen, bro. But then going to college, like seeing crew like Cultural de la Raza Unidas or APASO, Asian Pacific American. I forgot what the SO stands. I think it's something association, or I forgot APASO, but the Asian Pacific, and seeing all of these groups and stuff like that, like, you know, grow. I feel exactly what you're saying as far as being exposed to more than what you grew up with, because I only knew it as black and white.
Yeah.
But sometimes I feel with people, we ignore knowledge just to be ignorant. And
It's more convenient, right?
yeah,
It's more
yeah.
comfortable to be stupid than like. I mean, I feel that. Like I thought about the Bible and everything. I was like, man, this is heavy as hell. Why
Mm-hmm.
can't I just?
Mm-hmm. Listen, I still remember. I was like, wait a minute, like, I remember this dude, right? I'm still cool with him to this day. His name is Timotei. And I remember I was talking to, this is my first icebreaker at Michigan State. And I'm walking in the union and shit of my first party at Michigan State. And I'm walking in the union with Corey. And I was like, oh, damn, man, she got some ass. And he's like, no, no, no. He's like, he's like, and I was like, wait, what do you mean? He's like, that's a dude. And I was like, no, it ain't. I was like, that's a chick. He's like, nah, man, that's Timotei. And I was like, Timotei? I was like, I don't know who. I mean, I'm literally my first week of school. I don't know nothing. But I was like, oh, snap, that is a dude. And like I said, I ain't got no problem with gay people or anything like that. But, and I know what I'm attracted to. So I would say I'm attracted fully to women. But that shit blew my mind. I was like, it blew my mind as in nobody was out. You know what I'm saying? And like I ain't gonna say his name, but we knew that he was gay, growing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we just
I
let
mean,
him
we've
be.
always had them feminine dudes around. I mean, like
Yeah, but we let them be them. It wasn't like, it's like, you gay or you the F word or anything like that. But at the same time, it wasn't out there the way that I was exposed to it. Now, like I said, I'm looking at the ass of somebody right there, and oh shoot, that's a whole ass nigga. Like,
you're like, whoa, like the game
really
didn't change, right?
Look, it blew my mind, and it really blew my mind to what I was exposed to, just from that, and just getting that. Even if I finished, but even like you get a semester or two at college, just seeing the difference in people and getting to know people, man, because now I communicate mostly with people I went to college with and people I went to high school with, so having that bridge gave me exposure, plus it gave me friends that I have for life, or associates, friends, or whatever I have for life.
When I went to school, I found out what affluence mean. Like I found out like when I went to GMI and I was like, yo, this dude got a BMW, like a new BMW. And he's just a kid. You know what I'm saying? Like, nigga, did your dad get this to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, they giving BMWs to a student that goes to a General Motors Institute. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, make it make sense to me, right? I found out that people lived a whole way different than I did. Like, I
think I was so poor.
I found a new way of looking at that money. Like people looked at money as a resource and not a lifeline. Because to me, it's always been a lifeline, right?
Yeah, that's a resource, not a life. I like that. Listen, man, when I got to state, my mom gave me $20 and told me to eat in the cab. Like $20. I didn't have no job at the time because I was just getting on campus. I ended up working at Imperial Sports while I was there. But
you didn't get no work study?
Nah, I didn't have it right off the rip. I didn't have no money. Like,
see, I had to learn because I had to get a work study quick because the man was like they told you in the orientation the good work studies get ate up quick. So I was like, shoot, and I got my work study like that first week I was there, and then GMI started. I was in school in July 10th, so it was like, wow, I'm in here. But
bro, listen, she gave me $20 and told me to figure it out. Like it wasn't. It wasn't. Can you imagine having $20? Like, no, I used to. This is what I tell people all the time. People say, "Well, you grew up a certain way." I was like, no, I was like, it may have looked like that, but everything I got. Outside of I got school clothes and stuff like that, but I had to play
sports. School clothes. You wanted it.
Yeah, right. Look, niggas over here got used jeans on, and I'm just, wearing shit and shit, or fucking JC Penney's, and it wasn't. I was clothed, but at the same time, it wasn't no extra benefits that I was getting. I still remember like it was like 1 year in the 8th grade. I felt like, okay, I'm getting some stuff, but I still didn't get like a lot of things. Like I remember, but I got those things because I played sports. And I learned, I was like, oh shoot, if I play sports, I can get shoes. So then
Yeah, but you
that's why
gotta
I was
have
like,
the
well, I
equipment for
play,
this.
try to
Yeah.
play every sport that I could.
Your
So I
mom
was
was a
part of
baseball
that.
player, so she a softball player, so she understood that, right?
Yeah. Shit,
Yeah,
I was wearing my mom old British Knights and shit and
yeah,
all that shit like
yeah.
until I couldn't fit them no more. So it just is what it is. But I wasn't like flat out poor, but shit, we had like because it was good. We had the government cheese, like
Man, your mom has always parlayed some way to get get
yes.
that gift. Your mom, man, I used to come over
Listen,
your
my
mom house. She
mom's
had
hella
cake.
resourceful.
Yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
most look, and this goes to what I was saying. How
That
one of the
$20
things I
script.
remember growing up, like I understood the resourceful part of my mom. That influenced me to where I'm at today to be able to to figure out how to get the things that I want to get. It's
Right.
like how can I move forward? How do I get a podcast? How can I, get a better paying job? How can I because people think, the whole American way type of shit and I mean, I was a part of that way of thinking this, and I'm glad that you mentioned the whole American thing. It's like I feel like, okay, I graduated with a college degree, what my job at? And it's like almost feeling like a sense of entitlement. Like, look, I got a computer science degree. Y'all need to hire me. It's like, well, no, they can still find reasons to not hire you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or, so now like how do you leverage that into an opportunity? It's like, well, how do you make your money work for itself when you ain't got no fucking money? It's like I don't understand like how you could be an entrepreneur
You
if
have to
you ain't
you
got
have to
nothing to
yeah,
entrepreneur with.
you have to leverage what you have, and that might
Mhm.
just be a computer. And
Yep.
like I tell people, my start was getting a laptop. Right, I got this.
Mhm.
I acquired a laptop, and
Mhm.
I was able to do some stuff to make me some money.
Acquired. No, I was fucking with
But
you.
I ain't even gonna get to that story because
And you had to
yeah,
do what you had to do out here.
yeah, and I mean, and I'm really grateful that like I said, I acquired a laptop, was able to
Mm,
print some stuff, was able to get some stuff together, and man, it's been a journey where but then like I'm gonna fall back on what you said. I had a
mm,
community that dumped resources into me, and
mm,
like with your mom being down the street, like they all looked out, and I can say this, they all looked out for me,
mm,
like I had when my bike was on the flat, I had like I could go by my grandmother's house at the time and get it
mm,
pumped up. Well, shoot, actually, like when we're talking about people that we knew, uh, and I talked about them last time, but Norris and Dickie and
mm,
um, they taught me how to ride a bike. My mom had got a bike from the flea market. I called it the farmers market because it was always at the farmers market. But
mhm.
she had got a bike with it was one of the banana seed bikes, but it had a 10-speed handlebar. And it was like, man, I was trying to learn how to ride a bike. And man, my community took care of me, helped me. So a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to do
You
is
had a banana seat with
a
10
banana seat
speed
with
handlebars.
the 10-speed handlebar, right? And matter of fact, it was me and my sister bike together because but my sister was like, I ain't riding that. She was strong, but that's what I learned how to. And then I found some handlebars. Matter of fact, it was like, you know how like downtown you go
You
and they
was,
had like the cement
nigga,
alleys.
you was on this bitch like,
Nah, because they had the 10-speed handlebars curled up
yeah,
this
the
way.
curl ones, right? Yeah, so
Yeah,
you had to be on this bitch
but no, they had them tilted, so like it was tilted up.
like,
Like
oh.
it was
Oh,
tilted up.
okay, so you had them like kind of like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the bike I learned how to ride on. Norris and
Oh, that's funny.
Norris didn't help me, and Willie James. It was Norris, Willie James. It was like, man, ride this bike, man. Like
Hey,
almost,
got you where you got to get.
yeah. And
That's funny
hitting
as
that
shit.
bike, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was riding down. Like I said, they had the cement alleys closer to downtown, right?
Mhm.
Uh, And like I seen like somebody had threw some garbage out, and it was a banana the ones that really supposed to went for that bite.
Yeah.
So I grabbed them. Mr. Copeland, like this is when I lived on Merle, same neighborhood, lived on Merle. I have grabbed them and I had them on my shoulder, and my bike was on the flat the next morning. So I was walking over my granny's house on Monroe. And Mr. Copeland seen me. He's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was like, "Man, my bike on the flat. I need to. I'm gonna try to put these handlebars on here." He was like, "Come here, let me show you something." Because he was like, you walk around here every day with this flat tire. So why you just don't patch it up? I was like, again, I don't
we had no money and
life.
shit like that. Dog, Pat, you know, it's funny not to disrupt, but a patch probably. I'm trying to think. That shit was probably like $2.
It was $1, dog. The patch kit was $1, dog. It was $1, and like, but again, I didn't have no knowledge of it, right?
Yeah.
And like not having a dad, but like the people in my neighborhood really looked out for me. Like I said, I had like even us young and going to pick apples from the apple tree right there on Muskegon Avenue and the peaches. Like we used to go and pick food.
Nigga, I would still to this day not pick a fucking blueberry. I was I think I'm planting a blueberry tree in the backyard though, but to this day, I will not pick a fucking blueberry willfully.
Man, I need to put some blueberries and and raspberry bushes around me. Them was
Yeah, to this day, I will not. Nigga, we used to be out there trying to, and that's why I tell people like you don't know everybody's story, right? You don't know. Like we used to be out there every fucking morning, like 5 days, and I never understood. Like my mom would go, like even she worked at the prison, but if days that she wasn't working, we was out there picking blueberries all day to get school clothes and shit like that. She's like, well, you want to have some shoes, you want to do like you gonna be out here picking these blueberries and shit. But that work ethic, and don't get me wrong, I wasn't a fan of it. I have the work ethic, but I just know how to direct that energy in another path instead of fucking.
Because with knowledge comes options, right? Yeah, with knowledge comes options, right? But I got that nostalgia where I wanted to go back home and pick blueberries, and like the beginning of August is actually blueberry season.
I got no parts of that nostalgia.
Dog, you want to get that bucket, tie that bucket around you, and get on them.
Yep, nigga, we used to be out there, goddamn. Like we used to be riding out there by 5 a.m.
I was like, wait, you gonna dump that whole bucket in there, all into the corner?
All this shit I did, and you about to put us in that bucket? This is some bullshit. So, but
man, get mad because you skipping the bush. Like,
look, one thing I learned when I look back at it though is like the idea of business, right? And the idea of it is that they would charge you, or they would pay you $1.50 or how much ever they paid you per bucket. But they would sell those same buckets for $3.50, $4.
Yeah.
So literally the work that you're doing, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's how business is set up in general. Like you have minimum amount of risk to be able to get this product to be able to sell it. So essentially what you're doing is like you're capitalizing on, the workers getting you these buckets, and then now you're selling them to the public for consumption.
Well, everybody's benefiting because you get a little bit of money for your work, and we get money for your work plus. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it's an added. They didn't even add value. They just maybe add packaging.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I don't even think they watch them off, right?
Shit, and like, okay, here's your blueberries. Take them. I mean, they may lose money on a brown paper bag or something, but that's back then. That's probably like less than a cent. So nah, man, smart business, man. But man, thanks for having this conversation, man. Like I said, I enjoy these conversations. I want to keep them going. If you're cool with that, I'm cool with trying to figure out some more family shit, whether it's with Ricky, whether it's with Aunt Alice or whatever.
Yeah,
I think it makes sense. As I said before, we don't have these conversations to be we don't have these conversations that often, within family or just to figure out like, some history. And I always feel like that history part that could be missing, can be beneficial. But at the same time, I feel like we need to have these money conversations as well to understand like the logic of, like I said, protecting your energy, building things to be more than what they are. Because a lot of people think that, they're like, well, shoot, how do I get from here to here? And they're unwilling to take that time to be able to, develop it and whether it's learning a trade or just starting things on their own to be able to do it. Like I said, with this podcast, this isn't I expect to have 1 million followers or 50,000 followers or 5,000 followers or 500 followers or even 50 followers. But I mean, it can get there. And I mean, you build it, they will come type of stuff.
Persistence is key, right?
Yeah.
And
but the thing is, you're not going to get that right away. You just be like, well, shoot, if I don't get 5,000 followers, then I'm not going to do a podcast. It's like, no, that like you do it based off of trying to build something and then let things grow. Like we're not having forced conversations to make this pop. We're just talking candidly, and hopefully you take that experience, our experience and knowledge to be able to build yourself even more or build your children or whatever, or just build wealth in general. So
yeah, and tap in if it's something that you feel like we missing or something that you heard, because like I see a lot of TikTokers like, hey, you can make $1 million doing medical deliveries. You sign up by this website, that website. You know what I'm saying? and I want people to understand that sometimes and this is my rule of thumb, right? I was talking to this dude. This is my rule of thumb. If you making more money, so like Amway, we grew up around Amway, right?
Man,
if you making
Lewis used to sell that shit. I'm like, nigga, like I mean, I might buy a Snicker.
Yeah, I don't want to you like that, right? But their business model, you know what I'm saying? The business model is they sell products, right? But they make more money by getting more people to sell products. If I'm the product, if getting more people, so like
the original triangle scheme.
So I'll talk to this guy. He's an investor, right? And he was like, "Yo, I subscribe to this guy, and he makes a lot of money doing this. He shows us all the breakdowns of trades." And I was like, "Look, here's my rule of thumb: if he makes more money influencing than in trading, I'm not messing with him." And like, because at that point, I'm the product.
Yeah,
you know. So like, so I'm paying him to tell me how to do something, but he can't make. He can't make. He I don't know if he's not making more money doing that. This is more of his job. More of his job is getting more followers than actually trading.
Yeah. Listen, it's original triangle scheme. I mean, and don't get me wrong, there's not like I don't know how you can do it right, but like say for instance, like we talk about selling candy, right? Like if Brian says, Sean, I'm selling this candy, you want to sell this, and it's like, okay, cool. How do I get more money? I mean, I'm selling it, I'm making the money, I'm giving it back to you. Now you're selling the product, right? Or not, now you could damn near be giving it to me wholesale. It's like drugs and shit, honestly. But it's like, so now you can sell it to me wholesale. And then now you got a business of, you got Brian over here selling, and you got I don't know, Antonio Hicks over here selling, and you got all these people we grew up with, selling it. Now you're moving the product, and then now do we want to, consider doing a product at a lower cost, at a cost that doesn't impact our business or our ROI, but it's always somebody this is why I say the triangle scheme can work, as in like building a business that people can profit from versus like trying to have them sell product that they're going to struggle at and then they're just going to be stuck with. So it's like selling candles or selling blah blah blah, selling Tupperware and shit like that, or selling Avon and shit. Like all that shit is a
Mary
fucking
Kay,
pyramid
right?
scheme. Like all that shit was fucking pyramid schemes.
That's a distribution network. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That
my mom got
built.
a ton of that shit just sitting in her fucking basement because she didn't move it, or shit that my sister got that they didn't move it. And it's like, so now they stuck with the product. They try to do something different. They try to convince me to fucking sell. Why I don't buy fucking candles? What the fuck? Like, it was just like, I don't know, man. Like, if I do, I'm gonna buy one. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not gonna buy a candle a month.
I rarely burn candles, so it's not like something I'm but if they ever have extra inventory, and your mom always has some stuff that I'll be like, man, I'm gonna have to come over here, ain't Evan. But
extra inventory. Nigga, I would pay you. And look, I was considering this. I would pay someone to go into her basement and just sell that product. Sell everything down there, like everything that's in. Look, bro, I am because I'm gonna be there in a month. Man, but and I thought only reason I won't be able to do it because I'm only gonna be there for a certain period of time. You say what?
The way she be looking at you going down the stairs, like she protective over her stuff.
No, but the thing is it's like it comes a point in time like we have to become the parents.
Yes.
They don't like I'm not going to fully take over anything on my mom just because I want her to have her independence. But at the same time, when you have all of this product and you don't know what to do with it, it's just going to lose value. So now you're just storing junk. You know, like if you're like, don't remember if she has all of this stuff, and this is what we talked about this one point in time, but like if you have all of these things, and like say for instance with shoes, like I buy shoes all the time, but even with shoes as an example, right? Shoes go eventually crumble. So if I'm not wearing, like that's why I've been like wearing more of my shoes now, just because they were just sitting in boxes for like 10, 15 years. Man. You know, and granted, they do hold a way higher value, you know, if I decide to sell them or anything like that. So I know I can sell them, but I done grew an attachment to them now where I'm like, do I really want to sell? You know, so now I'm like, no, put them shits on my feet, fucking wear them and shit. Stop using them as fucking statues around the motherfucking house and shit and moving them from shit. Nigga, I done moved shoes from Ann Arbor. I done moved shoes from Lansing to Chicago to Ann Arbor to Chicago back to to Atlanta that I haven't worn.
But
you know what I'm saying? Like
the balance is what you make it, right? If you say, hey, I get more joy out of putting these on than selling them, or I don't really need the money to sell them. Like, cause I used to go to the outlet every week and be like, yo, I get these, and I had the access to it. So it's like, I got shoes that I've never worn. A lot of shoes I've never worn because I'm like, yo, these are classics. I can't wear them. They work some, or like when I get back into the gym, I'll wear them, right? But what you talking about, and we just gonna like, I'm gonna roll with you because like when you go home, I was supposed to go home again today and I missed my flight because I never finished checking in on a goddamn computer. So I went all the way over there, but it's cool. I'm not wasn't supposed to go home, so it is what it is. But I feel you with. Because I tell AT, I was like, yo, you got a bunch of stuff in here that like it's worth something. Like you, because she'd go to Menards and buy shovels, and I'll be like, yo, why do you have so many shovels? Because you know, when every somebody needs something, I was like, oh.
Then she like, I need to do a yard sale, and I was like, yo, fuck a yard sale, like get the fuck out of here. Like
we just put it all online. We put it all online.
Put it on eBay and keep it moving. Like like the my only problem that I had with that when I said I was going to do it was how long I was going to be there. But other than that, man, that shit has to go. I mean, because it's becoming, and I told you, I go home and I clean up every time, and it's terrible every time I get back, you know. And I'll throw a little.
Because your mom likes stuff a certain way, though. Your mom likes stuff like she don't move that because I'll never know where it's at. So when I get over,
but you're operating within chaos, right? So say for instance with me. It's hard, like
it's chaos to you, but she knows exactly what stuff at.
No, she don't.
Then she don't.
No, she knows where it's at, but she don't.
Over there.
Yeah, I was like that's the problem. Like she'll say, like I mean, she's getting older. She can't. This is my thing. Your house is either going to be as an adult, your house is either going to be extremely messy or it's going to be extremely clean. I'm probably about, I would say probably about 10%, 15% messy, as in like it's a room in the basement that's all of the storage and shit, right? But everything else in the house is clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there's no reason why I don't have kids. I don't have, like, there's no reason why my house should be messy. Like, the only thing that gets messy in my house or should get messy in my house is me using dishes. Outside of that, I got to mop the floor every now and then. I sweep, I have a fucking Roomba that I, like, there's no excuse why the floor is dirty. I got a fucking Roomba that does all that for me and shit. So with her, you know, it's just, you know, she buys things. And I mean, I love her to death. She buys things and she buys them with good intentions. She buys them, quote unquote, they're on sale, or she feels like we need them.
People need them. That's what. And she's like, you can come by and get. I was like, Auntie, I never really understand what you got. So I was like, I love my.
We don't. We are taught to save and have it available if something ever happens, like the storm, like that doesn't happen that often. Like I was cleaning up before we did the podcast today, and what I was doing was I was looking at this thing, and I was like, I was looking at a bunch of things. I was looking at specific things. I was like, oh, I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that right now, and I'm not going to use that within 6 months. Tossed it. Like,
so I'm a minimalist. Like I like, because one thing I hate doing is dusting. Like that bothers the crap out of me, because I'm like, and so I don't have a lot of knickknacks and stuff to go and dust and stuff like that. But this is what we need to do with your mom. We need to get I'm gonna buy another shipping container. Get a shipping container, get it there, so that way you can warehouse it somewhere where it's not there. Because it seemed like she wanted to do it. If everything was in a place where she could get to it, I think she'll be happier. But like I seen her shed. I seen her shed, and she just put everything in her shed. I was like, Auntie, I thought we was gonna clean out the shed. Yeah, but I can't keep leaving stuff in there. I was like, you got this whole yard right here that I'm gonna build a house on. She was like, you want to build a house?
Why not?
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes people like I said, she looks at it from the view that she has as an adult, right? Her view, and this is what we talked about, you know, whether it's, you know, from civil rights or, you know, just growing up differently. And her view is very small on what she can have versus, like, I put like this as an example. I bring up Keurig's, right? She doesn't drink coffee at home. So why have a Keurig? That, like, it's just the logic behind it. It's like, well, I want to make sure I have one just in case y'all need one. I was like, nah, you bought this because it's on sale, and you're never going to use it because we all have Keurigs. You've gotten us Keurigs. We all have one. I got an extra one downstairs now. Like, what do I need to? What am I going to be? When am I ever going to be simultaneously brewing 2 cups of coffee? Like, it just is no logic behind it at all. But you know, sometimes, like, I'm okay. Not that I'm okay with it, but I would rather her spend the money at the casino than to bring more product into the house that she's not going to use.
I rather, because I think if she moved product now, like if she moved product, you got an extra Keurig. I think you put it online and you show her. I think she would go for that, because she's what. So I'm gonna just tell you, I like to put people in position where they're winners, right? Your mom is a buyer. That's what she does. So like if I had the infrastructure built already, I would be like, okay, Auntie, do your thing. This is what we making. What she buy stuff, what she want to play with, what she want to keep, I let her keep. What she didn't, I put it up for sale, and then we'll let the ticker tick. Because your mom is always gonna buy stuff or acquire stuff, because you know.
But they all do that. Like, go to Aunt Alice's house. Like, Aunt Alice is an eBay seller. She does sell a lot, but she has more than what she sells.
Oh,
Like Aunt Alice will sell, like she's a I think she's a, what do you call it when you put the star by their name and shit like that? I think she's like a preferred
go.
seller or something like that.
Yeah.
But she still has more. Now, granted, she has more active kids that can utilize some of the stuff, so she definitely doesn't have it as bad as mom. But and Alice has a whole space, and this isn't like to give any details or anything like that, but she has a whole space that's independent of her house that it doesn't impact. So if she buys something, it's almost like it's similar to what I do, but I don't buy 75% of what either of them buy. But she has a whole room that she stores her things along with the laundry and all that stuff. So it doesn't impact like her 4-bedroom house. She does have a room that's getting out of hand, her office, but but she literally
Because it's only her there, right?
Yeah, it's only her. Yeah, I mean, the grandbabies that come through, but she has a space that makes it comfortable for her to live there. It's not comfortable to live in my mom's house the way that she stores things. She just doesn't know how to put these things away.
And that's why I think she needs a whole, like, just because she's always moving stuff from one side of the room to the other and not actually getting rid. So my thing is, like, I'm like you. Hey, I ain't used this in 6 months. I got suits that I haven't wore, but I'm like, yo, I ain't gonna throw the suit away because, like, I know it might be a reason I need to.
I gave all my suits away from like up until 2020 when I lost weight, all the way up to 2023. I don't have any suits that I had in life before then. I can't fit them. Dog, look, when COVID hit, I bought a bunch of suits in COVID. I was like, well, when we be able to go back outside, shoot, I'll be able to have this suit. I now own 3 tuxes, and I own 3 suits. But that's all I need.
Now, with that said, like, how did you know what you needed? Like, as far as how did you assess?
I said I needed a blue suit. I said I needed like a brown. I have like this brownish, like maroon kind of color suit. It's like tweeted. And then I bought a tux, a black tux. I bought them all at the same time.
Okay, what made you do that? So what was your thought process around it? Why did you feel like you needed that? Because where were you?
Having a suit too, whether I got to go to a funeral, whether I got to get interviewed, blah, blah, blah. My blue suit holds me down, or my brown suit, or my maroon/brown suit holds me down. My tux is for special events. Then I bought 2 more tuxes. I guess that's 5, not 6. But I bought 2 more tuxes last year, just to have something for events. Just because I didn't have, like, I thought having a tux was out of my, like, who owns
scope.
a tux?
Yeah,
like literally out of the scope. And then I was like, wait a minute, tux is only like
$300.
Like, it ain't. I mean, it's the same cost I'm paying for suits. So I was like, well, let me go ahead and get some nice ass tuxes and go from there. So it was more so like seeing things, and like I remember watching. I like to watch Suits, and I was watching it, and like the main character on the show, he showed up, and he was showing up for his protege, and he was like, hey, get your tux. We about to go to this event. He was like, dude, I'm poor. I ain't got no tux. And he was like, you got a tux on hand? He was like, of course, who doesn't? And I was like, damn. But then like I think it was Tone sent me something like, I didn't buy no tux that day, but like Tone sent me something. He's like, hey, they got these suits on sale, Macy's, blah, blah, blah. And so then I started looking at them. Then I started seeing tux. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, and I went to this event in New Orleans for Mardi Gras, and it was like a suit and tie type of deal. And I was like, and I was looking at a suit, and I was like, well, shit, I might as well just go and get a tux and be dope as fuck. No, they got a tux. So
Yeah,
now
and
I wear the tux every now and then and shit. So now I got 3 tuxes.
man,
So
I seen Nick Anderson at an Orlando game, right?
mm-hmm.
And I was like, dang, now I know the difference between a $400 suit and a $6,000 suit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? I said, I see the difference. And I was like, it's not necessarily the material, it's how it's worn. Like this was created to fit you.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, because Nick Anderson, he's a broadcaster at the whatchamacallit, and they had this little event outside before they went in, and I was like, dang, I said that you pay a little bit of money for this suit. He's like, yeah, but he's like, I'm gonna have it for years, and I was like, I ain't tripping, but like you could definitely notice the difference. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have to step up my suit game.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
If you can afford those things. I mean, like,
yeah,
how
I mean,
like same thing
like
with vehicles too. I mean, you could tell the difference between a lot of vehicles. How it's made. From the lower end to the higher end. It's just like people just have to get to that point of being able to do that.
I literally felt like he could have hooped in his suit, and it like because how like some suits, I don't think you can lift your arms up over like this.
But
like he had flexibility in that mug and like the range of motion. I was like, hey, you can do that. And the thing is like how like some suits, like when you go like this, your stomach start pulling out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
like your buttons start looking a little tighter and shit. And
no, nigga shirt didn't start like he was like, yeah. When you go and grab the ball, his shirt didn't pull. That's all like, dang, how's like what like that? That's a real suit. But
but and you mentioned like we got to get out of this mentality that just Jordans are the highest value. It's like understand everything as a value, like you said with a suit, having a very nice suit, having I mean, but living within your means as well too, because we don't want to just be like, well, the first thing I think is to buy a pair of Jordans. Like, nah, buy like I got like probably about a good. I mean, I buy Jordans, but I'm looking at it right now. I got like 30 or 40 just dress shoes. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like
30 or 40. I got 4 pair of dress shoes. Based on like the color. I haven't really wore suits. I've been wearing more the khakis, and I like the actually the golf pants.
What size shoe you wear?
12, 11 and a half.
Shit, I got these. They still in the plastic and shit. See, I think it's these. Let me pull them over. But like, I got these brown ones right here. Like I bought them, and I damn near. Actually, it's another pair over there too that I couldn't. It was dope as fuck, but I couldn't fucking fit them and shit. I fucking around and didn't realize my feet grew and shit. So now I'm a true ass 13. Versus,
oh damn, for real?
Yeah, nigga. I can't. No, I got like. Hold on, this is one more pair, and I know we deviate from the conversation.
Oh yeah, my man. He got them shined up and polished up like he got them polished. I said he got them shined up and polished up too. Woo. Those loafers? Sean, can you hear me? I can't hear you. The mic on.
My bad, the mic unplugged. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. They cap toe. I don't know if that's the name of or like the brand of them or the style of them.
Yeah.
But this shit was like I saw this on. I was like, I gotta get these. And I think there's like 200 or 300 maybe. But shit, I can't fit them. Brand new and shit, just sitting in size 12.
I'm gonna have to come over there. Yeah, like I had to. Some of my dress shoes I have to get bigger because like I don't think my feet go to that natural point.
No, I'm a true 13. I mean, I can wear some 12s, but like for those, like I want to say they might be listed as a 13, but they just fit smaller and shit. But
Oh, yeah.
I definitely would have bought it. I always try to get like a 13 in the dress shoes just so I have some breathing room and some space. But nah, like just as much as I got, I don't have as I mean, of course, I got way more sneakers than I do of dress shoes, but I can still you say, hey, let's go out and let's get suited up and booted up. We ain't doing shit. It's a Thursday. Fuck it. I can, bust down something and be like, oh, cool. I can throw on this tux if you want to,
I have to come up to ATL and do something where we just get dressed up because you know what?
Fuck it. And just be like, just go out and shit. Like, I'm cool with that shit.
What's crazy and like and I don't want to keep this in any longer because I end on this. Going to these government meetings and stuff, be it planning or be it the city planning meetings. When you come up in there, especially if you can get more than one black person to come up in there in a suit, you can stop the whole room. Like I went in there and they was like, they wanted to ask me who I was. And I'm like,
listen, when I went, I told you I went to New Orleans and I first got the tux. I went to a governor's ball. I'm in there interacting with like people that like the governor of New Orleans and shit. And that shit was, I was like, okay. I mean, that's what people got to understand. Like, you get to, not that the clothes make you anything like that, but like talking to somebody comfortably, like you want to dress the part. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't got to, like, I think sometimes people get confused on me being myself and blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, yes, be yourself. I mean, be authentic to yourself. But that sometimes people think like being authentic to themselves can be being, I don't want to say ignorant, but being like you ain't gonna tell me how to talk around. It's like, no, you have to be able to, like, I tell people all the time, like, code switch. Like I can talk to this person just the same as I could talk to this person, but just because I don't talk to this person the same way that I do with this person, don't mean that I'm like changing up, who I am as a person. I'm just talking to that person so they can understand me more and being able to convey the messages that I would like them to understand versus this person. I tell people all the time,
I had a professor that really put that in perspective to me. Dr. Fury, my community college. Because like my mom used to think, you get educated, you talk to educated people, and like, but Miss Ferry was like, yo, talk to me and write like you talk. And I was like, but they don't do that. And she was like, look, education is supposed to broaden your horizon, not contract it, right? So if the people don't understand or won't understand, then like, are you really getting the message through? The part of knowing the audience. And when you talk about being yourself, I kind of get a little leery of that because not leery, but it's like a double-sided coin because like
you just gotta be careful. I mean, be who you are, be genuine to yourself, but make sure that the message that you're trying to get across is understood.
But what's crazy is like Mark Zuckerberg wears the same thing. Like he that's his thing where he likes wear this hoodie, t-shirt, and jeans. Like, and he has multiple outfits of those, right? Damn, my battery about to die talking about that. So he wears those at events and kind of like bucks the trend, like, yo, I'm tech. This is what I do. So like I do get it to where like there's times where you like, yo, this is on brand, but you got to create the brand first.
Yeah, like I was like you said, the Mark Zuckerberg thing. Mark created a lane to be able to do that. Like Mark was in rooms, at points in time trying to get funding, trying to talk the language. Now that he's able to be within those rooms comfortably, he can say, nah, I wear a G-string and a fucking bow tie if I want to. Y'all go respect who I am as Mark Zuckerberg.
Right.
So well, cool. Well, in the interest of time, thanks, bro. Great talking to you. Can't wait to have this conversation again. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, say some dumb shit on the comments. I don't give a shit. And talk to you all
some smart stuff. We don't care if you're talking smart too, because I'm engaged. Engage me in the conversation. Let's go, because I'm all about growth.
Yep. Yes, sir. And that's the most important thing, trying to get as much of what we have or what we've endured and understood within life and where we're continuously growing to help people see that as an example to be able to build and be dope as well. So,
Right.
cool.
Yeah.
All right.
You almost touched on therapy, and I'll say that for the next episode because
All right. Cool.
you
Cool.
know. All right.
That therapy is important. But thank you all for listening. Appreciate it. Talk to you all soon.
Peace.